So this month, we are exploring the spiritual journey, moving from a mindset of scarcity to sufficiency and generosity. And each week, we've been building on the next, guiding us towards this idea, today's topic of shared abundance, building a legacy of shared abundance. So I want to start off just with a little bit of review. So we began this month, Rocktober, rocking this prosperity and abundance consciousness, by naming the lie. Anyone remember the lie? Where are we? There you go. I was like, where are we moving out of? We are moving out of scarcity, and we are moving into the land of plenty. This ancient myth of scarcity is that there is not enough. That we're not enough, there's not enough time, not enough money, not enough energy, not enough me, right? So it's more than an economic condition. It's a mindset, and it's a deep spiritual wound. It keeps us trapped in that mindset, that consciousness of scarcity, cramped in a place where we grasp and hold on to what we have instead of trust and open to the flow of all that we are. That we can have it all because we are it all. We are connected to this infinite source of life, always expressing through us. In scarcity, we compare instead of celebrate, right? So what if it mean to move into the celebration of others' goods instead of comparing ourselves to others' good? And again, sufficiency doesn't mean settling. I think sometimes we could hear that word and just think like, well, that's kind of boring. Like, why would I want to achieve just sufficiency? It's not about settling. It's about standing in gratitude that you can have it all because you are it all, that you are enough just as you are, right here, right now. It's moving into that mindset in the present moment of enoughness. And what more could there be than enoughness, right? So this is the idea that Lynn Twist in our book of the month, The Soul of Money, presents and invites us into the consciousness of sufficiency. It's about awakening to everything we already are. When we live from that awareness, money and all forms of energy, because money is just another form of energy, begin to flow freely through us. We loosen our grip and we discover that life is generous, is creative, is trustworthy. And I shared this first week, my favorite, one of my favorites, it's hard to choose, but I'd say the top 5 at least, Dr. Ernest Holmes quotes. He said, "The trees do not lack for leaves, nor do the flowers fail to bloom. Am I not as important as they?" Oh, that just takes me right there, right? So from sufficiency, we began to live in a rhythm with that divine circulation. And then we turn to this idea of money as a mirror. How money can reflect back to us. It's a very tangible thing where we can see our consciousness and belief system reflected back to us. Our values, our priorities. The way we spend, save, and give is telling a story about who we are and what we believe about ourselves and the world. So money at its best becomes a spiritual practice, a way to align our inner life with our outer actions. Through conscious stewardship, we can transform money from a source of stress into a sacred tool for expressing our love and integrity and vision and desires and hopes and dreams for the world by how we move that energy of money in our life. So that brings us to today's message. When we live from sufficiency, we use our resources consciously, and generosity becomes that natural next step. Giving is the accumulation of, or is an expression of our abundance, right? It's abundance in motion. You don't know what you have until you give it. And then it can be in circulation. It's the place where fear dissolves and faith takes form. Living from generosity reminds us that we are a part of a living, breathing wholeness, oneness that is the very generative nature of the universe itself. It's that idea that you can't outgive God because God, life, spirit, universe is infinite. So we are always open to that infinite flow. In her book, Lynn Twist tells a story that beautifully captures what this idea and practice looks like. She shares about a time in her life where her and her husband, Bill, were caught up in what she called the siren song of success. Working long, hard hours, very successful, having all the money, and yet as they were busy earning and achieving and impressing and acquiring all the nice things in the name of being a responsible grown adult, they begin to realize that there was something missing in their relationship with their young children, that something felt a little out of balance. So one evening they found themselves sharing dinner with Buckminster Fuller. How cool is that, right? Look him up if you don't know him. He is affectionately known as the grandfather of the future, right? And so their children, still very young and full of wonder, were asking questions at this dinner, as that natural curiosity is with young ones, and hopefully we can continue to cultivate that in our older years. So that curiosity of a child, her 8-year-old daughter, Summer, she said something so insightful that it stopped them all. And it was one of those aha moments that Lynn Twist said it really just created a shift for her. Bucky looked at them and said something that would change Lynn's life forever. He said, "Remember, your children are your elders in universal time. They have come into a more complete, more evolved universe than you or I know. And we can only see the universe through their eyes." That insight shifted everything. And Lynn began to see her children not as the students of life, but as the teachers of possibility. How cool is that, right? So children, whether they be birth children or just the children of our community and our world, our young ones, what would it be like to look at them as our elders in universal time? Universal time is not linear. Universal time is secular. Is that the right word? Secular? Circular. What is secular? I don't know. And so she realized that if her children were to inherit a world where generosity and sufficiency, these things that she valued and claimed to be all about, if these ideas were to be the prevailing conditions of this world, that she had to model that now. Because it's always in this eternal now moment that we live, not sometime in the future. Like, I'm doing this now so that then they can have that. Our children learn from what they see and experience right here, right now. And she writes that the legacy her children needed was not money itself, but a way of being. A consciousness that would allow them to be creative, resilient, and fully expressed in the world with whatever resources flowed through their lives. Because if you think about it, there's stories of people who have trust funds or come into wealth, inherited wealth, that may not have done the spiritual work and the consciousness work and have the mindset of abundance, that can see that as a huge burden. And so if we're just leaving and doing things and sacrificing ourselves so that the next generation, our children, can have this money without also teaching them the balanced life and how to actually enjoy the money and what it actually can be used for good, then it's like giving a gift without the full awareness of how to receive it, right? And that's the essence of shared abundance. Legacy isn't just about leaving behind what we've accumulated, but it's about how we've lived. It's the energy, the example, and the consciousness we pass forward. It's how we show up with integrity, generosity, and love in every energetic exchange. When we model sufficiency, when we trust that life, the universe, has our back, supports us, is a loving universe, and when we model abundance by sharing from our heart, modeling faith when we give of our time and our energy and our resources to what we value more, all of these things are teaching the story and leaving the legacy of the consciousness of sufficiency. The children in our lives, whether they're actual children or simply the next generation, are watching how we live, how we give, how we react and handle fear or circumstances in our lives. So in a sense, they are indeed our elders in universal time, helping us to see now what's calling us into a more evolved consciousness of shared good. And I can think about this personally as a mother with a young child and how she has created an opportunity for me to do so much healing and growth work and expansion. So instead of looking at this child as something and someone that I have to impart this wisdom to, she is my elder here to teach me and to bring me into a higher consciousness and to hold me to integrity in a way that sometimes I myself might not. Children, they don't let you get away with anything, y'all. They notice every little thing, and you said this, but you did that. Okay. So what kind of world are we modeling? A world of not enough, not good enough? Or a world where generosity and collaboration are the natural ways of living? Each of us is living a legacy and leaving a legacy through what we live. With every act of generosity, we are planting seeds in the collective consciousness. When we live with a spirit of sufficiency, we create ripples of trust. And when we give with joy, we create waves of possibility. We align money with meaning. We become channels for divine flow. So this is the invitation as we bring this topic to a close this month. The invitation of the soul of money in this whole month's journey is to move from fear to faith, from not enough to enough, and from survival to shared thriving. Doesn't that sound good? Yes. Lynn Twist writes, the legacy they needed from us was not money itself, but a way of being that would enable them to be creative, resilient, and fully expressed in the world. That to me, that's it, right? So that's the invitation for us too. To be stewards of sufficiency, to model a life of enoughness, and to live with such trust and generosity and presence that our very being becomes the gift. So today, may we remember that abundance is not something we possess, but it's something we embody and practice. Every generous act, every mindful choice, every grateful moment becomes a thread in that tapestry of our shared abundance that we are weaving together as this beloved community. Our legacy is now. And what a wonderful opportunity to think about as this time of things are going to be different, right? Of transition. As I'm away for a few months, change is hard for many people, yes? And even though we know it's temporary, it's still a change and it can be hard. So what would it look like during this time to be thinking with this mindset of sufficiency for our community, for legacy of our community? And how can we look to those generations younger than us to lead the way of possibility and creativity and curiosity? And how are we modeling that? Are we listening to what Spirit is saying now through these young, evolved beings that have come into the consciousness of the world, that we, wherever we are in our life path, have healed and done all this work and raised the collective vibration to a certain place that the children being born now come in there. And then they get to take it higher into more knowing. So let us not forget that we're still learning and growing. And we may have wisdom to part from our experience, but let us never think that what we experienced or know is exactly the same for someone else. As we open to possibility of shared abundance, we get to not only teach, but create together and be the recipients of what's to come. Isn't that cool? So what's to come for this beloved Ahava community? Let's move into this time of transformation, of visioning, of possibility, and being willing to be those open vessels of Spirit and live in that question. Open at the top. I'm going to give you a preview right here, right now. 2026, the global theme is open at the top. How cool, right? So we're planting those seeds now, and I know we are in good hands with Dr. Bob. So this, I know I went on a little tangent, but Spirit came through. Whew, I'm feeling that sweaty now. Is that what happens when Spirit comes through? Does anyone else get sweaty? The energy? Yeah. Okay, so our legacy is now. It's the way of love. It's the way that we give, and it's the way that we awake to this truth. There is enough. We are enough. And together, we create a world that reflects that, and a world that works for all. Yes? Yes. All right. Let's take it into prayer. Taking that breath right here, right now. Recognizing the one life that is pure abundance, the infinite source of all, the divine activity back of all things, that is love, that is wholeness. This infinite source, this thing called God, Spirit, life, universe, is the very essence of all. And therefore, I know it is who I am. I am one with the divine. I am love. I am whole. I am abundant. Because abundance is the very nature of the universe, and therefore it is my divine birthright. I live in this place of wholeness, of freedom, of oneness, of sufficiency. So I know this to be true for me. I know that this must be true for each and every person hearing the sound of my voice right here, right now. Aligning with that vibration of love and sufficiency and abundance as the natural state of the universe. How good it is to rest in this awareness that everything is unfolding perfectly in my life, that all of my needs and desires and heart's desires are met and fulfilled as I trust in life itself to express through me, to care for me, knowing that I truly am the beloved, the face of God. So grateful. So grateful to speak this truth, so grateful to know that this word is done, is whole, is complete, as I release it into the action of the law that always says, yes, my beloved, it is done, and it is so. And together we affirm this by saying, and so it is. Yes.